Welcome to Opinions in 10, online posts and biblical opinions in under 10 minutes. Starting now. A friend has been staying in my house for almost 3 years. A few years ago, I let a good friend stay with me as they were facing homelessness. I own the house. It's not the length of time that's the issue. If they were working and helping out with bills, that would be fine. But they haven't gotten a job. I've sent him job postings and he says that he's applying. In all this time, though, he has only had one interview. I can't afford to support 2 people much longer. Sometimes he helps a bit around the house. He'll load the dishwasher, vacuum once a week, and sometimes make dinner. But that's about it. I have to work 50 plus hours a week when my job offers overtime to pay the bills. And then I still do a ton of the housework. I take care of the litter boxes, do the grocery shopping, do a lot of the cleaning, yard work. I take out the trash, scrub the shower, etc. He's loud. He makes random noises and talks to himself. I struggle to fall asleep as he will just be in the other room laughing to himself while he watches videos. He makes messes and doesn't clean up after himself for days. If I try to talk to him about anything, he'll just break down crying. He's so clingy. And I feel like I'm not even allowed to go for a walk by myself as he will cry. I'm losing it and I'm getting so angry. I know I need to kick him out, but how can I? How can I make a friend homeless? I don't know what to do. How do I escape this? I know if I do kick him out, my friend group will ostracize me and I'll be left alone. Okay, the problem here becomes obvious upon examination. Even without examination, it is extremely clear what the issue is. And unfortunately, this is an issue all too common in today's world. Well, let's start at the beginning. Your friend, someone you call a good friend nonetheless, was having what I presume to be financial difficulties. You were fortunate enough to own a house, so you made the decision to share your blessings and invited him to stay with you, an invitation he accepted. This in and of itself is a good thing to do. We're meant to share the good things that God has given us in our lives. But this is also where I think you have made an initial mistake. You see, clarity is our friend. A piece of advice I like to give people in this situation, should anyone ever ask me for my advice, for one reason or another, is to start out these kinds of things with the goal in mind. A course of action to be taken. In other words, your act of kindness in letting your friend stay with you serves a purpose that is clear and has a discernible goal. I have no idea if this happened or not, as there doesn't seem to be an indication in your post that such a conversation ever occurred. If the purpose of moving into the house is to build up some money to be able to move on with their lives, that is stated in the conversation, as well as how long of a time we're looking at. There are likely a few cases where a person would actually have a need to indefinitely live with another person and never move out. But if this were going to be one of those cases, the same advice applies, i.e., you need to be helping with bills, housework, keep your room clean, etc. You mentioned the fact that this person does a very minimal amount of housework and doesn't seem to have a whole lot of consideration for you while you're sleeping and working and picking up extra hours to support him. And then he's getting clingy, following you around everywhere and making loud noise without any sort of consideration for you. I know I said that you would ideally have had a conversation about expectations with this person when they moved in, but it sure seems like he's got a lot of expectations of you. You are expected, for all intents and purposes, to be a butler, a maid, and a parent. And unfortunately, this is a thing found too often in Western culture. When you are providing for somebody's needs and that person has a clear expectation of you, that is called entitlement. They behave as if this is just how life is. You gave an inch, why not take a mile? In other words, their sincere belief is that the kindness you've done for them is owed to them. The Bible contains a remedy for entitlement called thankfulness. Being thankful or grateful is when you take stock of the good that's in your life and you recognize that it is at least in part present in your life because of another person's efforts. The book of Leviticus posits that gratitude costs you something. At that time, there was an offering that a person would give to show their gratitude to God for the good in their lives. Whether it was something that came directly from God, i.e., rain or manna or something of the sort, or something that came from the hand of another person. The Bible further teaches us that the thank offering and the peace offering are closely related. Peace comes from gratitude. But this person isn't doing any of this, of course. He's given nothing to express his gratitude for your generosity. In fact, he's left messes sitting around the house for days on end and sat around on the couch watching YouTube videos while you pick up extra hours to fund his lifestyle. So the core conflict I'm reading from your post boils down to this. You can continue in the way that things are and keep your friend, but lose your sanity. Or you can make the necessary correction and risk losing your friend. Let's go through these options. Option A, if you continue in the way that you're going, continue pulling your hair out, working overtime to support somebody who has no gratitude at all for your efforts. Not sleeping, eking out time to do every ounce of work that the other person certainly has plenty of time to do on his own and chooses not to, etc. And why not? It's been 3 years. As it stands, he is essentially the king of your house. Or the other option is B. Have a very difficult conversation with him and give him an ultimatum. He either has to help out around the house and get a job, or he's got to go. You certainly don't have to say it like that, but it needs to be crystal clear. Because at the beginning of this post, you said that this was a good friend, but that's not what you described in your post. The post describes a parent-child relationship. And it is certainly possible that his parents never taught him any of these expectations. That is an unfortunate reality of today's world. Guidance is not passed down from parents to children as often it should be, and it's tragic. He may have no idea that there are expectations to meet. But this is not about that particular problem. This is about you being healthy and sane and keeping your home a place of peace. It's not about you trying to teach him what his parents never did in this case. It's on you to keep your home a sanctuary from the outside world. That is really the only issue here. That'll do it for today. God bless.